And I can honestly say, I taught school 17 years, kids can be by far the most professional performers, and I start my theater productions at 4.
And decided this would be a good idea for the promotion of business in Wilmington as a networking opportunity. They didn't use that word in those days.
Are you interested in volunteering overseas? You know, if you are, there's lots of opportunity. I've been volunteering overseas since 1995 with a program from the United States Agency for International Development, USAID. The program I work with is called Farmer to Farmer, but you don't really have to be a farmer. Business or many other aspects of modern American life need volunteers also. And during the past year, I have spent a lot of time in Africa. What I do is I work with farmers primarily, and the groups I've been working with in Angola and Malawi and Mozambique and Ethiopia have been primarily small groups of farmers that do not know anything about current farming standards. And so we start very basic, working with small plots, talking about seeds that they can use that would be better than they are currently using. They have many disease issues, especially virus problems, and they haven't got very good conditions to save their seed. They don't have refrigeration and many of the things that we take for granted. So saving the seed in Africa may result in reduced yields. Another issue that's a common problem in Africa with many farmers is diseases and insects. Many of these farmers have very limited amounts of land, and they replant the same crops over and over and over. And so after several years, they build up huge pest problems in their soils. These problems lead, of course, to reduced yields. And the big issue in many of the countries that I've mentioned is that they can grow beautiful crops, but if they have a crop failure, basically a family starves to death. They can't go to their cupboard and say, well, we had a bad crop this year. We're going to eat canned goods or frozen goods. They have no surplus at all. If they don't grow the crop, they literally starve to death. What I try to work with them is set up crop rotation schedules, so they won't grow the same crop year in and year out. And I try to eat with the people I work with. So when you're eating with many of these groups, you're eating food that is very outside of what you normally would eat. Typically they have a lot of cassava, which is a very starchy root that is really the root that keeps Africa alive. But it's a white starchy product. Another is they eat an amaranth, which is very closely related to red root pigweed, which grows on all our farms here in eastern North Carolina. A whole host of leafy vegetables that many people in this country would consider weeds are harvested for their green foliage and then boiled and then served with corn mush. For instance, sweet potato greens are a major green. So if you want to learn more about volunteering, I would encourage you to go to one of these websites. As CNFA, they're a good one out of Washington. ACDI VOCA, Windrock International is another good one. CRS, the Catholic Relief Services, they've actually been around for probably a century, and they do a great job. So you got 4 operations. Go to their website, see what's listed, and get out there and have a good time, because it's very, very satisfying to go help a group of people and see them improve themselves and their families, especially over time, to see that sort of thing.
Since 1997, the Celebrate Wilmington Committee has honored people with their own squares in a Walk of Fame at the Cotton Exchange. The names in the Walk of Fame include Roman Gabriel, NFL quarterback for the LA Rams and Philadelphia Eagles, Minnie Evans, a visual artist who painted vibrant outside works inspired by her dreams and visions, Hugh Morton, internationally recognized photographer and preservationist of the North Carolina Battleship and Cape Hatteras Lighthouse, Henry Bacon, the architect of the Confederate Memorial at 3rd and Market Streets in Wilmington and the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. Frank Capra Jr., film producer and one-time president of Screen Gem Studios. Katrina Jarborough, opera singer who performed in many of the world's great opera houses, including those in Paris, Vienna, Warsaw, Madrid, and Moscow. Robert Rurik Jr., a journalist and author of Something of Value, Poor No More, and The Honey Badger. Althea Gibson, tennis champ and the first black woman to be voted Female Athlete of the Year by the Associated Press in 1957. Well-known newscaster David Brinkley, one of the first television journalists and a pioneer in broadcast news. Charlie Daniels, Grammy Award-winning country music singer. Percy Heath, who served more than 40 years as a bass player for the Modern Jazz Quintet and served as a Tuskegee Airman. Claude Howell, a well-known local artist, is on the Walk of Fame. He explored coastal themes and started the first art department at Wilmington College, now UNCW. Isaac Granger, International Bank president who served as president and chairman of the Joint Rules Committee of the U.S. Golf Association. Sonny Jurgensen is in the Wilmington Walk of Fame, a Pro Football Hall of Fame quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles and Washington Redskins. Don Payne, a veteran writer for The Simpsons and feature films including My Super Ex-Girlfriend, and a graduate of New Hanover High School. Meadowlark Lemon, Harlem Globetrotters legend who moved to Wilmington in 1938 when he was about 6 years old. Wilmington's Walk of Fame is located in the center of the parking lot in the Cotton Exchange downtown.
Hieronymus Seafood and Oyster Bar, voted best seafood restaurant in Wilmington by Encore magazine readers. Here is where you can count on the freshest local seafood daily, served with fresh herbs selected from their own garden. Enjoy daily chalkboard drink specials in the cocktail lounge. Choose to eat in the Oyster Bar for freshly steamed oysters or crab legs. Or you can dine family style in the comfortable and spacious dining room. Seasonal catch from local waters is always on the menu at Hieronymus Seafood, where fresh is best.
The most talked about travel experience is a river cruise. This is Liz from Four Seasons Travel, where we book luxury river ships that carry 150 passengers who unpack only once and spend less time getting there and more time being there. Private balcony views of stunning locations across Europe, Russia, China, and Southeast Asia. We work with top name operators. There is no better way to see the world than on a river cruise from Four Seasons Travel, with you all the way.
Ironclad Brewery joins the growing list of Wilmington-based craft breweries in a renovated historic building on 2nd Street, where the interior has been restored using original wood from the building. And the craft beers, they're all local and regional to Wilmington and North Carolina. Now pouring Fishtail Pale Ale. Add a favorite for dark beer lovers, White Squall, Ironclad's White Chocolate Brown Ale. Downstairs or up in the high-gravity lounge area, come and enjoy craft beer at its best. Ironclad Brewery, 2nd Street in historic downtown Wilmington.
Do you like historic neighborhoods, architecture, and local history? Then you don't want to miss Historic Wilmington Foundation's guided architectural walking tours. The Forest Hills Tour showcases the city's first automobile neighborhood, and the Streetcar Suburbs Tour highlights Wilmington's first suburbs, Carolina Place and Carolina Heights. And this summer, on select Saturdays, a new downtown tour. Tours have a strong architectural focus and are led by knowledgeable guides. Check our website for details.
Cape Fear River Watch is a nonprofit, grassroots environmental organization. The whole reason we exist is to protect and improve the water quality in the Cape Fear River. The Cape Fear River is a really special river. It's North Carolina's largest river. We call it a watershed, and the watershed is about 9,000 square miles. It goes all the way up almost to Virginia, above Greensboro, where the Deep River and the Hall River come together to form the main stem of the Cape Fear. About a quarter of the state's counties are contained within the watershed, at least partially, and about a third of the state's population lives in the Cape Fear River watershed. So really very large, very important. It's the only major river in North Carolina that empties directly into the Atlantic. So that's been important Historically, that's why Wilmington was such an important town for so long, because ships could sail right into the river without having to cross big sounds like the Pamlico or Albemarle. It's got the highest level of biodiversity of any other place on the eastern seaboard above Florida. So what you have down in the lower Cape Fear is just what they call a biodiversity hotspot. So it's a very large number of species living in an area together, and a very important area from a biodiversity or ecology standpoint. We've got some of the oldest living trees in the country, cypress trees up on the Black River that are around 2,000 years old, that have been here growing, and they're just giant cypress trees, and just a beautiful section of the Black River. As you move down towards the lower Cape Fear, you have, everybody's heard of the Venus flytrap. Most people don't know that the Venus flytrap is really only found naturally in a very small area, and it's right here in the lower Cape Fear River. We've got some really interesting fish species. We have what are called anadromous fish, and these are fish that spend most of their life out at sea, and then they come into freshwater streams to spawn, and we've got 2 species of sturgeon, which are both endangered species, Atlantic sturgeon and the short-nosed sturgeon. Striped bass, which is a real popular game fish, really important fish in a lot of places in the country, and shad, all of which return here to spawn. And there's been a lot of excitement around a fish passage that's just now being completed at Lock and Dam number 1 that's going to allow these fish to swim up above the dam, to swim right over the dam, and reach, get closer and closer to the spawning grounds that they've traditionally used. So there's a lot of exciting stuff going on with fisheries in the river. A ton of bird species, just last week I saw a bald eagle. We've got tons of osprey, white ibis, all the wading birds. The biggest contributor of pollution for our river and most other rivers is stormwater pollution, and that's the water that falls in rain and picks up whatever it finds on the ground and funnels that water to a storm drain, and then that storm drain usually empties either into a river or straight into the ocean. If you throw a piece of litter out of your car, that litter is going to get picked up by rainwater, and it's going to get carried to the storm drain, and it's going to go to the river. If you put too much pesticide out right before a rainstorm, that pesticide is going to get picked up and carried to the river, and that's going to start to impact species that you find there. Even the little things that you do, like choosing to throw that cigarette butt down, that adds up. We all kind of are in this together, so each of us doing our part can really improve water quality in the river, and that's where we get our drinking water. That's something that I think a lot of people don't know about the Cape Fear River, is that most of the people in New Hanover County and many of the people in Brunswick County actually drink Cape Fear River water that is pumped out of the river above Lock and Dam number 1 all the way down to Wilmington and treated, and then when we turn on our tap, that's what we drink. There's lots of different people living in Wilmington, but I think everybody can get connected to their environment and get connected to the river. If you like getting outside, you like getting on the water, and you want to see a little bit of the Cape Fear River, come paddling. If you somebody who just really loves learning, the education seminars are great. If we can build a connection to the river through any of these things, then we know that person is going to be more likely to take those little actions in their day-to-day life that help protect the Cape Fear River.
Kayaking and paddleboarding have exploded in popularity on area waterways, primarily along the Intracoastal on the inland side of barrier islands like Wrightsville Beach, Figure 8, Masonboro, and Fort Fisher. Kayaks and paddleboards are easy to transport, and they can be launched into the water almost anywhere. Some great exercise to be had in the serene beauty and nature that boaters often fail to see as they go zipping by. But a growing number of close calls and near misses reported in this area between boaters and kayaks or paddleboarders, often attributed to the distraction of a powerboat operator and a kayaker in the wrong place at the wrong time. Congested areas near Wrightsville and Carolina beaches might seem like the most likely spots for these potential collisions to occur. However, powerboats are limited to low speeds in the no-wake zones of these high-traffic areas. Kayakers looking to get away from the congestion will often launch in areas where there's less motorboat traffic. This can subject them to higher risks from boats that are traveling at higher speeds outside these no-wake zones. Kayakers are most at risk while crossing the Intracoastal. And while these non-motorized watercraft do have the right of way, kayakers need to ensure that they are visible to oncoming boats and should maneuver as quickly as possible to get out of the main water lane traffics of powerboats. Kayakers should not be operating after dark, as their craft are not equipped with any running lights and cause a serious danger to themselves and unsuspecting boaters. Be safe, always wear a life preserver, and stay in shallow waters where the powerboats don't go.
Rip currents are a river-like stream of water that pulls you away from the shore. The United States Life Saving Association has determined that 8 out of every 10 surf-related rescues by lifeguards are attributed to rip currents. You can't outswim the current, but you can swim out of the current by swimming parallel to the shoreline. Make sure your day at the beach doesn't become a disaster. Learn how to break the grip of the rip. For more information, check out these websites.
Your passport awaits to 3 of Wilmington's most historic homes. Now, for one low admission price, you can visit historic Bellamy Mansion, the city's grandest antebellum home, the Burgwin Wright House Museum and Gardens, beautifully restored for a step back in history, and Latimer House, representing opulent life in Wilmington before the Civil War. Purchase your passports at any one of the historic home locations and discover 3 great reasons to visit Wilmington's past. Tickets are good for 1 week from the date of purchase.
Is your VCR finally giving up the ghost? Are your videotapes falling apart? Can't find the right equipment to watch those precious family memories? Bring your home movies into Carolina Video Edit Centers for professional, high-quality transfer to DVD. Why risk taking it to a mega store that'll just ship it off to who knows where? Carolina Video Edit Centers has been in business over a decade. All orders are handled with care and processed right here in our studios. Bring in your home movies and receive a second DVD copy absolutely free. Preserve those family memories forever at Carolina Video Edit Centers.
Alpha Mortgage. We're the only full-service mortgage banking firm in southeastern North Carolina. From origination through processing, underwriting, funding, closing, we do it all locally. More than 90 professional staff right here in Wilmington. Alpha Mortgage is the leading mortgage lender in southeastern North Carolina. Alpha Mortgage is the lender more real estate agents and builders rely on. We work with your realtor and your builder every step of the way from application to closing. We have the best rates, best service because we are Alpha. Alpha Mortgage.
Basically, it was the idea that started from homeschool parents wanting the idea of having a choir because they don't get that. And the more I thought about it, I didn't want to just close it to just homeschoolers. I wanted it to be more open to any student that was interested. And so it started as an idea there and then built into just a community youth gospel choir. The students come in and it's a very simple process. Basically, they're singing a song that everybody knows, usually Happy Birthday or something like that. I change the keys to see what their capabilities are vocally. Age range is probably 10 to 18. Then we meet once a week, usually Sunday afternoons, and work them very diligently, push them to be strong professional gospel choir singers. And we have an incredible time, and these kids are fantastic. There is a fee to get into the program each month, and then we work August to December, trying to do anywhere from 2 to 3 concerts. With Christmas, we're really slammed because a lot of people know about us now, so we have a lot of opportunities to sing. We had 6 concerts this year at Christmas all over the community, different people bringing us in. But then they go on a large trip in May. We went to New York City last May, performed in probably 7 or 8 venues there. I love what I do, and I don't think a lot of people have a lot of confidence in young people today. And I can honestly say, I taught school 17 years. Kids can be by far the most professional performers, and I start my theater productions at 4 and go up to adults now. We actually are incorporating adults into the shows, and it's amazing what you can get a child to do. If you put enough into them, they will give you back more than you ever dreamed.
The Wilmington Rotary Club began in 1915 when a group of local business people got together with the help of a representative of the Richmond, Virginia Club to learn about this Rotary movement, which was just 10 years old at the time, and decided this would be a good idea for the promotion of business in Wilmington as a networking opportunity. They didn't use that word in those days, but a chance for business people to meet and get to know each other. And the club was chartered in April of 1915, so we're celebrating our centennial. Right now, there are about 50 other Rotary clubs around southeastern North Carolina, which are direct descendants of the Wilmington Rotary Club. There's a total of 6 Rotary clubs right in Wilmington, then others nearby in such places as Hampstead, Burgaw, Leland, Southport, and so forth. The other clubs in Wilmington tend to be a little bit smaller, but they're also very active, and we have different meeting places and different meeting times. Rotary, like a lot of civic clubs that go back a long way, was originally an all-male organization. And in the 1970s and 80s, there was a lot of controversy about whether women should be admitted to Rotary, not just locally, but around the world. And eventually that decision was made for us. The United States Supreme Court, no less, said this male-only thing has to end. And the consensus in the movement since then has been, why did we wait so long? And boy, was that a good idea, because I have to say that the women Rotarians have been such a tremendous asset to our organization. I don't think Rotary would be significant, if it would even exist at this point, if we had not broadened our membership. So the club has had a focus for most of the past century on several key areas, which include health, education, economic development, and some broader themes that tie into what the worldwide Rotary movement has been doing, which include providing clean water and sanitation to communities around the world. The future of Rotary obviously will depend on what needs we identify in the community, and we hope within the next year or two that an international Rotary commitment to once and for all eradicate polio from the world will finally be concluded. At last report, the disease was endemic in only 3 countries, and we think that Nigeria has been finally wiped off that list. So it's very close to only the second time in human history eliminating an infectious disease. Membership in Rotary clubs is by invitation from another Rotarian, but that's not to say that we are exclusive, quite the contrary. We encourage people who want to be part of a fellowship that is devoted to service to come visit our clubs, get to know what we're about, get to know us, and we certainly invite people that we think would be assets to our club or to other clubs. We published a centennial history of the Wilmington Rotary Club, and that was distributed to 8,500 households in New Hanover County as an insert to the Sunday Star News on March 22nd. We have some additional copies which are available on request for anybody who's interested in knowing about the past 100 years of Rotary in Wilmington, and with, we hope, some idea of what the next 100 years will bring.
Discover more to do and see in Wilmington. See the attractions, events, businesses, and people that make this a great place to live. Keep your eyes on us as we keep our eye on Wilmington on CBS 10 WILM. Watch Eye on Wilmington Sundays at 8:30 or anytime on the WILM TV website.
This is Liz Coughlin with Four Seasons Travel, and I have another travel tip regarding passports. You should get your passport before you need one. You cannot travel outside the United States without having one. So have a current passport in your hand before you book your travel or airline reservations. There are also a number of countries and tour operators that require passports that won't expire for at least 6 additional months after travel. So check the date of expiration. It will take 4 to 6 weeks process a passport application before issuance, so it's good to start early and allow at least 2 months before you intend to book your travel. Passport applications and paperwork can be obtained online and from area locations including the main post office downtown or Magnolia Station at Porter's Neck. In Brunswick County, the Register of Deeds at county offices in Bolivia, and in Pender County, the Office of Superior Court Clerk in Burgaw.
She was once considered the world's greatest sea weapon and went on to become one of the most highly decorated American battleships of World War II. Now moored in downtown Wilmington, she's one of the most highly decorated family attractions in North Carolina, serving a new generation as an exciting, hands-on historical adventure. Have a blast exploring the past aboard the battleship North Carolina. Adventure calls.
With the keel of the USS North Carolina laid in October 1937, it became the first battleship built in 16 years and the first of 10 fast battleships to join the U.S. fleet in World War II. At the time of commissioning April 9, 1941, the North Carolina was considered the world's greatest sea weapon. It had 9 16-inch guns and 3 turrets, 25-inch 38 caliber guns, and 10 twin mounts. Its wartime staff of 144 officers, nearly 2,200 sailors, included 83 Marines. This Battleship Minute presented by CBS 10 WILM.